Hello everyone, I'm glad to have everybody back. For those of you who don't recognize this piece here that I'm working on, this is part 2 to part 1, which is on my Patreon page. So anybody who is a Patreon subscriber will recognize this. In part 1, I took this piece here, it's a panel from the Book of Darrow. It's I can't speak today, illuminated manuscript from about 600s AD. I can't show you the whole page because it is copyrighted, but this is the panel that we're recreating here. And the idea was to break it down. So in part 1, I broke down how to take something like this and figure out, like reverse engineer it and figure out how to break it down and draw it using a grid. And this is my one of my versions of it. And the funny thing is, in part 1, I described these as horses, but as I look at them and as I look at other panels on that same page, they could very well be foxes. So, I don't know if this is supposed to be a horse or a fox. I'm leaning more towards fox right now. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think it's a horse or do you think it's a fox? But anyway, I already went through in part 1 for Patreon the step-by-step process that I used to break down this drawing. Now, today is just going to be sort of a relaxed, fun day. I'm just going to go over my drawing. I'm going to clean up lines, create outlines, and do a little bit of detail work. This shouldn't be a long video, but I just kind of wanted to finish it off and see where we go from there. Alright, so let's get to it. I'm going to start with my outlines. I'm going to start outlining like the body right now. The head and the body and the legs, and then we'll take it from there because there's some detail work that goes into there. There's in here, and I don't know if it's picked up on the camera here, but you can see in this drawing there's like double lines here, and then there's some ears that I need to do details with because these aren't exactly right, and then there's details in the paws that we can do. I'm not going to go crazy with details. It's just going to be finishing off what I started in part 1. If you are not subscribed to my Patreon page, it's only $4 a month. You can, what I do there is I go a little bit more in depth. What I'm going to try to, it's kind of a new page. So when you get there, as of this video being posted, it's going to be practically brand new, so you're not going to see a lot there. But going forward, the idea is to take some of the drawing tutorials I've been doing and sort of go deeper into depth with them, show how they're broken down a little bit more, maybe give a little bit of more history, maybe for some of them I may go in there and I may be doing full-on drawings, you know, with all kinds of details. I'll be doing wood burning there, so I'll be wood burning my pieces. We'll be having conversations about things there. And also I do other things. I make fairy furniture, I make fairy houses, I make candle holders and faux floral designs. So it's going to be a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that I'm not going to show on YouTube, but maybe to a more interested audience, more targeted audience for Patreon. So if you're into all that stuff, please join me over on Patreon. It's only $4 a month. It'll really help support me being able to do more of this kind of stuff. Okay? So this video is going to be free on Patreon, free on YouTube, but part 1 is for members only. Okay, so if you want to see how I broke this down, please join me and become a member, and I would really appreciate your support. All right, so let's get that out of the way, the shameless stuff, and let's just get into drawing. Alright, so I'm going to go into, and I'm really hoping that I'm not, and forgive the candle ring, the reflection from the candle ring. So I noticed in the ears, my first drawing I didn't do details in the ears, but as I'm noticing in these ears, there is a little bit of a detail here. It looks like it kind of, and it's such a blurry image, but it looks like it kind of has a shape to it here. So I'm going to try to mimic that as much as I can. Okay. Alright, so let's go down, and I'm hoping, I noticed in one of my other video that my hand wanted to focus instead of my drawing. So I'm trying to, I apologize if it gets blurry and all you're looking at is my hand. I'm trying to not. Alright. So the idea today is just for me to sort of outline what I did, make it look pretty. Essentially, that's what we're doing. We're just making it look pretty today. Okay. So, good start. We got a good start. So, again, if you don't know what this is a small panel from the Book of Darrow. It is an ancient Irish illuminated manuscript, I think. They're attributing it to St. Columba, who seemed to have traveled a lot between Ireland and England and Scotland during the very early Middle Ages. Alright, so let's do this leg. Do this leg. And these are what are called, this animal and interlace kind of thing is called zoomorphic, and it's not especially a Celtic, because Celtic art is something different entirely historically. These are Germanic, so they're from the Germanic world. They're from the Angles and the Saxons. Right here, just before I want to look at this, because this is, again, this has a certain shape to it that I'm trying to look for. Let me see. Alright, I think I got it there. So anyway, these are what are called zoomorphic because they use animals as part of the interlace. And it was sort of adopted by the Celtic Christian world. So a lot of things that we call Celtic really aren't specifically Celtic. That might be controversial, but it kind of is what it is. But it's been utilized by the Christian missionaries and monasteries to create absolutely stunning, very intricate art. And these were like priests and monks that did this. So I said before, they're incredibly talented artists. And you don't usually equate priests and monks with artistry, but in this case, I think they used it as a form of prayer, maybe meditation, prayer, and they would copy books, religious texts from things like Book of Gospels of Matthew. Was it Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, I think. So they're like the main 4 books that are in the New Testament for Christianity. All right, so we got the legs in there. All right, let's do, am I still in? I'm gonna have a new setup soon. I'm gonna be ordering another light ring to go above with a camera holder that hopefully will allow me to zoom out a little bit better. So please forgive the I'm moving the page around because that's how I draw. I like to move the page when I draw rather than trying to move my hand in awkward ways. All right. So, in my first video, I kept referring to these as horses because to me, it looked like, especially from the first one, it looked like a horse, right? So I'm referring to them as horses, but as I'm looking at some of the details, like these look like jaws to me. And the ears look strange. They don't look like horse ears. So, I don't know. I'm torn between whether they're foxes, but I did notice that there are other panels on that same page that clearly are foxes. So, I think foxes meant something to them at one point. It may have had some kind of symbolism. But again, if you think you know whether they are foxes or horses, drop a line in the comment. Let me know. I'd like to know. Okay. So the main bodies are now done. So I'm going to go in maybe and do some, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm going to actually use this. Let me sharpen my pencil a little bit real quick, get a little bit better point on this. And then I'm going to go ahead and do finish some of this interlace here. Now typically with what we're calling Christian Celtic art, your knots go over and under each other and it's sort of usually in a never-ending loop. There's no beginning or end, but sometimes the rules are broken. Sometimes they just end, and a lot of times in Germanic Christian art, I've seen the rules broken. It's, if you look at manuscripts, you'll notice that they don't follow the rules all the time. They follow them when it suits the design, but they always change it when they want to do something different. So in other words, they're not, you know, they don't stick to it. So I decided, yeah, today I decided for this video and the one before it, I decided to do something just a little more complicated than just simply drawing patterns on grid work like I've been doing. I've been wanting to dive into drawing zoomorphic designs for quite a while. Just haven't been quite brave enough to do it until now. But it's been fun. It's been eye-opening. And I'm thinking that I would like to incorporate more of these kinds of things into my own artwork, because I do wood-burned art. And I would like to kind of expand my artistic creation a little bit. I'm hoping my hand isn't blurring as I'm drawing. If it does, I apologize. I'm trying my best not to do that. Okay, and go. So there is another panel from the same page, from the same book of Darrow, that I'd like to tackle. And it's also, it seems like it's the same animal, but it looks closer to what we typically think of as interlace, only they really break the rules a lot. But I think my next set of videos might be that. Alright. And then after I tackle that, then I may find some other books, like maybe the Book of Kells, which is a very popular book. And they're both housed in the Trinity College in Ireland. So, you know, if you happen to be in Ireland, you happen to live there, that's awesome for you. Those of us across the pond don't have that luxury. But apparently these are housed, this book, the Book of Darrow and the Book of Kells are housed in Trinity College in Ireland. You can see bits of it online. In my rant in my first video, you will hear me complain about the copyright issues that I understand they're trying to protect and preserve, but there's a point where you're protecting and preserving it so much that you make it disappear from the public eye, and then it disappears from history. And it takes artists being able to have access to it, and the average people being able to see it, to bring art alive and keep it alive. Otherwise it dies. Alright, so let me see. I'm going to take something that's not as dark. Alright, so we got the main outline today. Or today, right now. I'm ready to quit, listen to me. We got the main outline going. I'm going to go in here and just do a little bit of detail work with a slightly... I've got these weird kind of strange eyes that they like to draw in the Middle Ages. Alright, and then like this seems to have a little bit of detail in there. I'm not going to get too deep into details because I can't see a lot of the details on this. And this isn't a work of art. I may take this and I may make this a template for a wood burning project, possibly. Alright, so I think the last bit that we need to go into are these double lines. So each leg has another line in there, and each body has the double lines in there. So we'll go ahead and we'll take care of that. And then I can erase some of the stuff that I don't need. Again, I'm really sorry if this is blurred. I'm trying to draw it so that my hand's out of the way. If there are any artists out there who have any tips for me on how to keep my camera from focusing on my hand instead of my drawing when I'm trying to do this, let me know, because I haven't. Sometimes it works out okay, and then other times I run the video back and, you know, my lovely hand is in the way. And let me know if you enjoy this. If there is a particular design out there that you have seen that you might like to see drawn, let me know. I'm always interested in trying to learn how to break these things down. My process is I break them down for me first. And then once I figure out how they've been broken down, then I share them out with tutorials like this. So it's kind of how I do things. And this isn't going to be like a perfect representation of the original. It's not meant to be. It's meant to be just kind of a study. I've had a lot of coffee this morning, which is usually a no-no when I'm trying to do these things because I shake badly. I have the shakes anyway, but I make my problem worse when I drink coffee. So the next one I'm going to do, probably in a week or two, is going to be foxes in interlinks. So they look a little bit like some of the stuff I've already done with my border knots that I've showed you, but they're foxes looped around. I'm pretty sure they're foxes looped around on each other. Okay, so let's see if we can erase some of these excess lines that are here. Oops. I love this little eraser. I love how it gets in the tight spots. Okay, so I think, I don't know how long this video is. I want to check the time on it. Okay, I think we're good. So this isn't going to be a full-on drawing. I may finish this off camera and really like get in there and see what kind of little details I might like to add. I have to give them a think. But this is basically And if I finish it off, I'll leave it in the thumbnail of the video, and that way you'll be able to see it a little bit more finished. I think if I did that on camera, I think we'd be here for a couple hours. So I just wanted to, especially for you Patreon people who saw part 1 on Patreon, I wanted to just follow through and kind of show you a little bit more finished version of it. Okay, so yeah, I'll do a lot more details off camera, and I'll share that in the thumbnail. But so that basically is this, and I don't know how much of it you can see on camera. I wish I could share the page with you because it's stunning. It's really beautiful. A copyright, and there's my first version that I did when I was sorting it out for myself. That's what I ended up with. Okay, and then here's what we're working on today. And again, I think what I'm going to do is have a little fun off camera, and I think I'm just going to go in and see if I can pick apart where the tiny details. It's so hard to see. I'm going to see if I can find some of the details and add them in. But there you go. This is again from the Book of Darrow. It is like 1,500 years old, and it is stunning. And it was created by Irish Christian missionaries in monasteries. So again, if you like this, then please subscribe. And for those of you on YouTube, you can subscribe. For those of you on YouTube who are looking for more of this kind of stuff that's a little more in depth, I just started. It is brand new as of this video. It is brand new on my Patreon page. I'll leave a link to that in, if not in the description, because YouTube is giving me a hard time leaving links in the descriptions right now. But I'll leave the link in the comments. So look for one of the first comments, and I'll leave a link to my Patreon in there if I can't put it in the description. Okay, for those of you on Patreon, thank you for joining me again. Thank you for your support, and I hope to be making a lot more of these. I have so many more ideas, so you know, keep following me, guys. I'm loving breaking these down and digging into drawing these things. I'm learning a lot as I go too, and I'm thrilled to be able to share it. All right, guys, so I'm not going to keep rambling. Have a great day, and thank you for being here. Bye-bye.